I'm going to tell you what it's like in Washington, D.C. when it snows in the winter. Hello, welcome to Trip Hacks DC. My name is Rob. I'm a tour guide here in the nation's capital. If you're coming to Washington, D.C. and you're looking for the best tips, tricks, and hacks for exploring the city, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon so that you don't miss any new videos. And if you're interested in signing up for a Trip Hacks DC tour, head on over to triphacksdc.com afterwards to see the tours that I offer. If you live in or have ever been to DC during a snowstorm, leave a comment on this video and let everyone know whether you loved it, hated it, or what you thought about it. Otherwise, let's get started. Washington, D.C. has 4 seasons, and over the course of a winter, we can usually count on seeing some snow. In a typical winter, the median snowfall is about 12 inches. Now, whether you think that's a lot or almost nothing depends on exactly where you're coming from and what you're used to. In some parts of upstate New York or New England, 12 inches is what you might get in a single day. And in other parts of the country or the world, 12 inches might be more than you get in an entire lifetime. If you're trying to see snow or to avoid it, you'll want to pay the most attention to January and February. Even though it's definitely possible to see snowflakes in December or March, the first 2 months of the year are usually when we can most expect it. Of course, the question that everybody wants to have answered is, what actually happens in DC when it snows? I've classified our snowstorms into 3 types of events, which I'm calling Code Yellow, Code Orange, and Code Red. Quick disclaimer that these are not official in any way. They're just a little something that I invented to try to explain my own experience. So first, let's talk about a Code Yellow, when snow sticks to the ground, but there's really not that much. When this happens, kids in the suburbs will get a snow day or at least a delayed start, and kids in the city will probably just have a regular day. Federal office buildings will all be open and people will be expected to go into work just like any other day. For visitors, all of the major sites will be open with no noticeable disruptions. If you're flying in or out of the city, you might see a small delay, but you shouldn't have to worry about cancellations, unless there's a big storm in some other part of the country that's messing up the air system. This is the ideal snow scenario for the typical visitor, because you get to see snow, play around in it a little bit, but it's not going to mess up any of your plans. A more severe snowstorm might be classified as a Code Orange. In this scenario, there's enough snow that kids in both the suburbs and the city are going to get a snow day. There's also enough snow on the ground that you'll see people out building snowmen on the National Mall and kids sledding down the hill near the Capitol. Federal offices will be open, but the workers will get what's called an unscheduled telework or leave day, which means that they can either go into work as usual, take a vacation day, or work from home if they have a laptop or materials with them. For visitors, most of the sites will still be open, which includes Smithsonian museums and places like the Capitol Visitor Center. But on a day like this, it is always worth double checking on social media or by calling ahead before you make the trip over there. If you're flying into town, you'll probably see some delays, but shouldn't be at a major risk of cancellations. And the last snow scenario is my Code Red. This is the one that might actually mess up your trip. Kids will get multiple snow days in a row, and federal office buildings will be completely closed, which means on these days, even the adults get a snow day. If federal offices are closed, that means that the federal tourist sites will be closed as well. So no Capitol tours, no National Archives, no museums, and no zoo. When the weather is this bad, it can be hard to even get around at all. Metro does run in the snow, but the above ground sections will close if there's more than 8 inches or if the tracks are really icy. The local DC government does have snowplows and salt trucks, but not nearly enough of them to clear the entire city very quickly during a really big storm. It's important to appreciate that cities buy enough snow removal infrastructure for their typical winter. And even though, yes, we do get snow, remember that it's only a median of 12 inches every year. And that's over the course of the entire winter. So one really big storm can be pretty crippling. Now, with all of that said, hopefully you're not feeling too scared. If you want to come to DC in the winter, just come. We've had plenty of winters in recent memory where it basically didn't snow at all, or we just had a few really nice dustings. And yes, there have been a few years when we got really socked by a big snowstorm, but you can't plan around those, and if you try, you're basically just going to be writing off entire parts of the year. Winter is actually a great time to come to DC because tourism is really low, so you get much smaller crowds at all of the major sites. Just give yourself a little bit of flexibility and everything should be fine. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, you can subscribe to this channel by clicking on the Trip Hacks DC logo, which is popping up right now at the bottom of the screen. And if you're coming coming to DC and want to sign up for a Trip Hacks DC tour, you can click on the Capitol Dome on the left side of my head. That'll send you over to triphacksdc.com, where you can see all of the tours that I offer. Enjoy your trip!